Learn to draw the line in the sand. Stop excusing people's behaviors because your family, because your friends, because your colleagues, or because they are of a high authority. If someone is doing wrong and is wrong, hold them accountable. If a leader is doing wrong, hold them accountable. Draw that line in the sand. Stop tolerating behaviors that are wrong. Stop accepting people's ideologies just because it fits their nature of rejecting to be able to confront an issue. If you do not confront an issue, the issue keeps progressing, it won't change. But until you deal with an issue and confront it, then you are able to move past something. If you fear something, let's say you fear hiking, the only way to confront the fear is to start hiking. If you fear dealing with money, the only way to confront it is to deal with something with money, because a time will come that you may be the only one who can be able to handle that issue. But now you can't handle that issue because you didn't confront it. There are people, because of the many mistakes they've made in life, they don't want to deal with the realities. So do? They justify their wrongdoing. They justify and give it a name, whichever name they choose, and justify their action. But the fact is, they have done something wrong that needs to be addressed. But because they don't want to, they will try to want support for their wrongdoing because they never want to confront the issue. Isn't that why we are in society where biological men and biological women choose to, biological men and women dress like men or dress like the opposite gender, want to give their 2 cents on how a family should be raised? Yet they know naturally, whichever way they choose to look at it, their ways won't work. And they want rights over your children. They want rights over everything because they do not want to confront there is an issue. Maybe there's an underlying issue in their life that they don't want to confront, but because society says, bring it all, quote unquote, love, love, love. But this love is a one-sided love. Or peace, 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 but it's a one-sided peace. You could be dealing with a boss who's abusive, and the only what he does is once he's done his abuse or whatever he does, he complements it with a salary or a promotion. That does not negate the fact that he's an abuser. So he should or she should be held accountable to abuse. You are in a domestic violent household or partner, and every time when they do something wrong, they compliment with a gift, a rose, a flower. That does not negate the fact that they're an abuser. So you should confront the issue as an abuser and follow whichever legal methods that will be able to hold them accountable. If a child is rebellious, they should be held accountable to the rebellion. You can't start justifying their rebellion and giving excuses to their wrong, because society out here won't really give 2 cents. They will deal with them literally. If you do not confront an issue and you allow it, eventually someone else will sort it out, and the magnitude they'll sort it out will not be the way that you had anticipated. People out here are going through, everyone is going through their storm. Do you think there's anyone who wants someone to come and bring their ideologies into their lives or pushing into other people's life without expecting a confrontation? You will be confronted. You're walking and someone steps on your foot. They don't apologize, they just look at you and they keep walking. Because anyway, no one ever told them that when you do something like that, there is an action to a reaction. What will you do? Won't you react back? Won't you fight back? Or to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't think what you've done is right. And they're confrontational, depending on the situation that person may be, you might also get into confrontational and square it out, even if it wasn't intended. When you allow people, even in siblings, a sibling will be taking advantage of the parents not saying much and trying to affect other siblings and try to justify because they're a sibling. There comes a time when you kick them out. There comes a time when you cut them loose. There comes a time when you show them the door and you don't mix your words. If you don't draw the line in the sand, my friend, People will walk over you. You are not born in this world to be a pushover. You are not born in this world to be a people pleaser. You're not born in this world to be able to be used and abused and people to get away with it and come up with the excuses. You are not born so that people can justify the things that they are doing against you. You are born for a purpose. There's a reason you're in this world. And it's important to know your purpose and to live within your purpose and to be able to grow. You're not born so that people can wake up and call you names and do all the evil they want to do to you and then come and cry foul for the things they've done to you. Look at some of these wars sometimes. Someone says we are retaliating against a particular nation because of a particular issue. And then you go all out and destroy everyone and saying you try to justify. Already maybe you've captured what you wanted to capture. Now you want to wipe out a whole nation because you feel justified using one excuse. And sometimes you never really know if the other ones behind it playing proxy or it's an actual issue. So politicians, they will come, they'll promise you the world, but them themselves can't even promise themselves anything. And they go and make these deals with other nations and have proxy agents, and they sign off deals and treaties. The next thing, your country has been sold out. And then because no one is confronting them, no one is standing up and telling the government, hey, 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 and no one is exposing them, they still feel justified. So what do you think they do? If you don't stop someone in one step, they take the next, they take the next one, they take a mile, they take everything. So you need to ensure that no one is justified to be able to get away with things because they feel that they can get away with anything. Let everyone be held accountable to their actions. And even if they react, how many times have many men been jailed because a lady cried foul and said ABCD, only for investigations to be done later and found the person was very innocent? How many women have found themselves in a similar situation? How many parents have found themselves locked up, or guardians, because the child claimed 1, 2, 3, and when all investigations have been done and after a period of time they realize the child just wanted to get away with something, and now an innocent person's life has been locked up. They've gone through another level of trauma. So we need to hold people accountable. It doesn't matter what they say. Draw the line in the sand and know, hey, this is where we draw my limits. Have your limits, have your boundaries. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You're in a faith institution or religious institution, and you're seeing whoever is the leader is doing things that are wrong. They are, they're seducing people's spouses, they are going after minors, there's corruption, there's theft. Hold them accountable. Because if you don't stop them, they'll feel that they're entitled. And the problem is, if you don't draw the line in the sand, there's a level of entitlement that people think they're better. Let's look at the whole quote-unquote civilization of the 21st century, because this civilization, since that word was connoted, has never been civilization. What do I mean? The nations that claim to be more civilized, where do they get most of their resources and raw materials? 3/4 of the time, and sadly, is from nations which they have impoverished, destroyed, alienated, put sanctions, and created proxy wars, and then call those nations which they have destroyed developing nations. But truth be told, and then also putting their puppets to run their nation according to their terms and conditions. But let's be very honest. If those nations were allowed to run their nations as they wish, if those nations were allowed to be able to make their own decisions, if they are not put those sanctions, would they not be better and superior from those nations which call themselves developed nations or civilized nations? Now, words and terms like civilization will be thrown in and there so that one can feel more superior than the other. But all of us are humans. If you cut any of us up, we bleed red blood. We have arteries, we have veins, but one will feel superior than the other, either because they've gotten away with it all through, generational wise, and they're never held accountable. But when you hold them accountable, what do they call you? They will call you all manner of names. They'll call you a terrorist, they'll call you this, they'll call you that. Look at it from this example. You are living in your own land, comfortable, peacefully, and let's say you're doing fishing, and then one day you see this big cruise ship or something, big ship comes, and then all of a sudden they're telling you, we are taking all the fish, you guys figure it out. This is the small area you had to take your fish. Now, when you rise up and now you have to fight to take your fish because you have no other livelihood, you have been labeled a pirate, you have been labeled a terrorist. Well, at beginning, you might not have intended to be a pirate or whatever other tag name you're given, but eventually that could happen. Doesn't mean everyone will join that part of the analogy, but yeah, some will. Some will buy into it. Or let's say you have your piece of land, you're comfortable, you've never bothered anyone, and then some investor comes and says he wants that land, and because he can't get that land, he starts proxy wars. And all of a sudden, some people come from nowhere and they come slaughtering and taking everything. And now the government looks on the other side because they've gotten the kickback. And then you're told, now get out of our land. Like this all carbon credit kind of thinking, whereby we are being told, oh, if you don't bring this credit, this credit, that. And then you're thinking, how is my land? How did a country from another area come and determine how I'm supposed to eat, drink, and breathe? The trees are part of my livelihood. Now you want to tell me I can't, and before you know it, the government has sold out your portion. And as you rise up, the government says, okay, so how many people are there? Let's say they're like 2,000. Fine. Who do we send? They send some militias. If that doesn't work, oh man, let's just send the army and call these people terrorists. And before you know it, you're all wiped out. So it's always important to draw the line in the sand and rise up where rising up needs to rise up. You can't be accepting every bill and every law and every tax just to be imposed on you, because the system cannot be able to be held accountable. And they can't explain where the taxes are going. They can't explain. So what does the system do? It kidnaps, it tortures, it does everything. But you know what you have? You have civic education. If more people are informed, the system fails, because the system has the thought process that if there's no information, there's power. So I urge you, use civic education. Ensure that so many people are not having civic education, not only having the knowledge, but now pushing back. And you push back and say, hey, if you guys are not doing this, I'm sorry. You guys go home, your office doesn't work. And that's how you put things into order. If you don't push back, at the end of the day, people will never stop. They'll take one area, they'll take two areas, then they take everything. Then you cannot be able to stop. So draw the line in the sand. You are dating. Know your limits. Know your limits. Just because you're dating and someone says, I want this, I want that. No, is that something you're doing from the heart? People always abuse when people are giving or out of a good heart. And someone might feel they're entitled to it. I mean, I heard there's this thing called girlfriend allowance, stuff like that. I'm thinking, allowance for what? Allowance for what? Existence for what? That's not my problem. I'm not your father. I'm not your mother. I'm not your guardian. Why should I pay you? Why should I pay your rent? Why should I pay this? And honestly, there's so many other people out there I could meet and move. So what's so special about you that I'm supposed to cater to you in that way? You don't deserve any of that. Let it be something out of my free will, but not something imposed on me. And you might find some of these people who have that an ideology that they deserve and they feel entitled because no one stopped them. And so they got away with it. For example, when someone just saying you are the princess, you are the king, you are this, all these names, but to go out there and realize you're not the most handsome person, you're not the most beautiful lady. There are others. You think you have curves, you meet others with better curves, and they are natural. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's like let's say you have toothpaste on your let's say on your cheek, and then or on let's say a cheek or face or something, when you're brushing that one that decides to never leave, and you go somewhere and everybody is just smiling and you're thinking, oh, it's because you're so looking so good. The one person stops and says, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know you, however, have you checked yourself in the mirror? And then the first thing you're like, what you want to be agreeable. I'm like, hey, I know what I told you that. Okay, you know what? If you don't want, here's my mirror. Check yourself. And when you check, you're like, crap. You have toothpaste on your face. So what are you going to do? Are you going to now to say that the person who stopped you and helped you has done something wrong? We'll start saying, why were they looking at that? Hey, they helped you. You have a choice. You can wipe it off and thank them, or you can go create a tantrum. The fact is they helped you before you going and shaming yourself wherever you're going. So it's always good to draw the line in the sand. Know what to pick, know what to drop. Yes, we forgive, but my friend, we forgive and you stick to your corner. Even scripture, we've seen it very clearly. Even after Jacob and Esau met and they cried and everything, we are not told they went and stayed happily ever after as brother. No, everybody went their way. Sadly, even the bloodline of Esau was still hunting down the bloodline of Jacob, but never succeeded. Our Lord Jesus Christ knew that Judas had done no wrong, even gave him the authority to be the treasurer, gave him the man, yet he knew he was, but he never allowed him among the three. So let's not be fools. Barnabas and Paul walked together, but when Mark joined and there was a disagreement, Paul went with Silas, Mark went with Barnabas. Yet Barnabas was the one who volunteered, say, hey, I'll be the one to walk with Paul. There is a line to draw. There's called accountability. Our Lord Jesus Christ did not mix his words with the Pharisees. He didn't go and do it in a closed area. He told them, he called them woe. He told them using the word woe, telling them, woe unto them, woe unto this, woe unto that. He never mixed his words. So who are you to play nice? If your leader, if your religious or faith leader is going wrong, there's what you tell them behind, and there's something you tell them frontwards. You tell them, hey, I'm sorry. You tell them openly what you're doing is wrong. Now they have a choice. Now, people don't like to be told the truth because people like to live in the illusion. So they will hit back, but you have a choice to make. Are you a chicken? Are you a coward? Because the Bible also doesn't have cowards. Revelation 21, cowards go to hell. Sad, huh? But that's a fact, because if you don't have a stand, then there's a problem. You're not born to be crushed, to be rolled over, to be stepped upon. Draw the line in the sand. Don't accept any jokes just made on you because you're of different race, color, ethnicity, or body size or anything, because people are body shaming you and saying, because I'm thin or because I'm huge or because of that or because of that. No, they're just saying it. No. Step up and say, what do you mean? What's your context of that? Yeah, step up. Be honest. Do not allow people to push you over. Or people are giving rumors at a line saying, no, they're saying it because, no, stop excusing people's behavior. Do not excuse someone's behavior against your life. Do not excuse anyone's behavior. If someone is doing something wrong, tell them, hey, I don't like what you're doing. And warn them once, warn them twice. Third, you know what to do. I'm not saying get into a physical altercation, but you will know what to do. But make your stand very clear. Because if you don't make your stand, people will push you over, people will run you over, and people will go and give fake lies, fake tears, and say, you've done this, you've done that. How many people have their faces and their names been maligned, destroyed, and everything? And then one day, the same people who are doing all those things came back, and others realized, wait, this person was innocent all through. We were destroying and tarnishing someone's name, and this person did no wrong whatsoever. How many people's names have been dragged? How many people have lost their jobs? How many people have lost their families? Because one, two, or three, or a group of people decided to malign someone's name because this person drew the line in the sand. And then a time later or years later, people come and realize, wait, this person whom we isolated is still growing, is still moving, has met new people, and we are the ones who are the fools. So now there's nothing they can do. Now they want to come back, each one pretending, we didn't know. No, I'm sorry, you knew about it. You had your option to go and do your investigation. You did have the option to do your due diligence. You did have the option to ask me the question, and I gave you my facts. But you chose to go around me and do the things that you did. So you get what's deserved. So yeah, we'll shake hands, but yeah, go fall into your pit. You chose that pit, so you chose to fall into where the swine is. You might as well just deal with the swine. Because stop excusing people's behaviors. Stop excusing domestic abuse. Stop excusing poor leadership. Stop excusing bad relationships. Stop excusing leaders who cannot be held accountable. It doesn't matter whether they're political leaders, religious, faith leaders, as long as they're leaders. Stop excusing rebellious children's behavior. Stop excusing people making jokes that are disrespectful. Stop excusing things, taglines, hashtags that are making someone feel like they are nothing. Stop excusing bad behavior. Stop excusing and hold everyone accountable to their words. Hold accountable people to what they are saying. Hold them accountable. And if they don't like it, good. You've done your part. Because by the same words they use against you, by the same shall be done to them. You see, this is how it always works. As you are busy gossiping or slandering someone, by the same strength and magnitude you are using, someone is doing the same with you. They may just be using you to get the more information which they can build up against you. And let's look at it even in scripture. When you look at Queen Jezebel, all the wickedness she did, who are the people who threw her down? It was not the people of Jehu. It was the servants of Queen Jezebel. Now, we understand Queen Jezebel was wicked to the core. She did all these evil things. But the people who threw her down were not the people of Jehu who had come to confront her. When he told her to deal with her, they didn't even hesitate. Mind you, these were the people who worshipped with her, did all those things. But when it was time to switch sides, they didn't even mix. They didn't even waste a second. They switched immediately. Just like politics. Politics, one time they're all in one party. All of a sudden, a new party comes, people switch. So, yeah, no one wants a bad name. That's even the devil will not come in a, what do you call it, a fork and that. It's like a rake, I think. They don't know what to call that thing. But he comes with what? He comes giving you the desires of your flesh and everything. He comes and tells you you are a god and all that stuff. But he'll not come to you dressed in red and all that cinema kind of entertainment picture that you've been given. He'll come dressed. But the fact is, he is wicked. And he knows he is. But he'll come as an angel of light. As long as you do not submit and surrender to God, he really doesn't care if you worship him or don't worship him. So stop allowing people to push you around. Stop allowing people to abuse you. And draw the line in the sand. Set your demands clear. This line is a no-no. And don't need to explain yourself. Draw the line in the sand and move on. There comes a time when no means no, and there's no need to explain yourself. Those days are gone. So step up, stand up, don't be a pushover. Know your worth, know your place. You are not born to be a doormat for everyone to step upon. Choose your place, know your worth. God help you.